Okay, so welcome back. Now we are looking at the discriminant function analysis, the DFA. Um, whew. So the first thing that actually I ran it already. Anyways, I'm gonna run it again. So the first thing that we want to do, we want to create a model called facial DFA, and this is going to be our first one. So this one is going to take into account approachability and trustworthiness in terms of facial expressions. So yeah. So we're going to run that. Make sure my coding is correct. Yep. Whew. In essence, the DFAs is like another follow-up analysis. Really further one. When you take into account univariate like ANOVAs, they're like in the last video we saw that in one instance it did not predict or didn't suggest that there was a significant difference for one of our variables, but the multivariate told us there was. So I'm not saying that it's unreliable. In essence, I'm saying that when you're thinking in terms of follow-up tests, a univariate ANOVA may not be the best follow-up analysis for it. So the DFA would actually suit it better. So what we have pulled up, where are we? So really looking at these really quickly, and thinking about it, when you're looking at these values here and these here, you see that in essence they're kind of like beta values or like B values, like for regression. So in essence, they kind of show you their contribution to that variate. If that, yeah. So the variables. So in essence, this is how much each variable contributes to the variate. Whew, man. Anyways, so looking at our first variate, we see that, hold on, let me get my thoughts together. Hold up. These are the group means. I apologize. Jesus. I'm losing my dang mind. Anyways. So, what we see here, we see a positive and a negative relationship. So, they have an opposite effect on the variate. So, for example, approachability has a positive relationship with the first variate, as opposed to trustworthiness, and it has a negative correlation or negative relationship with that variate. So in essence, and we also see the same thing for the other variate, just the other way around. So we see that approachability has a negative relationship, whereas trustworthiness has some form of positive relationship. I'm not going to say strong because, well, as far as trustworthiness goes for the first variate, fairly strong. And then for approachability for the second variate, fairly strong as well. Strong negative relationship. But as far as like the positive relationships for each, not each, but for one and the other, not fairly strong. So it's like little to no effect or relationship. So not much. But nonetheless, so just recall, so just know that the variates are they're used to differentiate the groups. So the first variate differentiates the groups by some factor, and the same thing can be said for the other one. So in essence, they kind of like play on each other. And the next thing that we're going to look at is the proportion of trace. So this is like, so this is like the variance. The variance between your first variant and your second variant. So we see like LD12, so variant 1, accounts for 94.5, no, 6. 94.6% of variance compared to the second variant, which accounts for like only like 5.4%. So that's a lot. That's pretty cool. So the next one that we're gonna do, we're actually going to create a facial DFA model for trustworthiness and credibility. So we're going to run that, and then we're going to just type in the command. This command executes model. Let me take that off too while I'm thinking about it. So facial DFA 2. So then we're going to run that. Whoa! Okay, I can't tell those numbers. Anyways, where are we? Yeah. So our coefficients of linear discriminants. So once again, like in the last one, we're gonna consider them our B's. So this is essentially their contributions to our variables' contributions to the variate. So looking at them really quickly. Damn. Okay, so for trustworthiness and credibility, we see that both of them have a negative relationship with our variant. Trustworthiness has a very strong negative relationship with the first variant, and credibility, it does have some negative relationship with the variant, but it's not. It's very small. So it's very weak. When I say small, I mean weak. So then for trustworthiness, we notice that it also has a negative relationship with the second variant. However, well, with this variant, but once again, it is very weak. So that's something to consider. But when you look at credibility, we notice that it's a positive and a strong relationship with the second variant. So that's kind of cool. So now looking at our proportion of trace, let's just one. Can you round it, please? Jesus. Where can you find good help these days? Alright? Damn. Okay. That's interesting to see. So, let me make sure I'm looking at this correctly. Okay, so essentially, what this suggests that our first variant contributes 100%, or accounts 100% of our variance compared to the second variant, which accounts for nothing. This is kind of interesting. How can I explain this? Well, actually, I can't. I'm going to explain it the best way that I can. Essentially, our first variant accounts for nothing. Our first variant accounts for everything, as opposed to our second variant. So that's pretty cool. The next thing, what we can do, we can look at the plot of discriminant scores for further follow-up. So predict facial DFA1, predict facial DFA2. So we're gonna run both of these. Well, I'm gonna run one and break it down. Good bejesus. Oh no, I wanted to plot it. Darn it. Wrong code. Sorry. Even though these are nice to look at too, but yeah, for the purposes of this video, we're gonna have to like move along here. Yeah. So, well, not even along. So essentially, what you want to do, is plot it. Plotting it is the best way of seeing the data, primarily because, yeah, I mean, you can see it. It's not much to it. Oh my god. It just gets worse. Anyways, so to discover which groups your variant 1 discriminates against, you're gonna be looking at you gotta ignore the other variant. So you ignore the vertical positions on the plot, and you look at how it's distributed along the horizontal axis. Damn near everything is distributed along the horizontal axis, so that shows our first variance account for 94.5%, and then for the second variance, where is it? Like 5% of it. So, in essence, just to break it down, you want to look at the horizontal axis, so you can kind of see that you can see that as far as discrimination goes, y'all look the damn same. God, why can't he just open their mouth and tell you? So, it appears that it doesn't really discriminate it as well as I thought. That's kind of interesting. But nonetheless, that's pretty much it for our first follow-up for our DFA. Man, this is what you're going to be dealing with if you're in stats, folks. So let's see the other one. Yeah, a little bit different. So, once again, our LDA is more so of your horizontal, and your LD1 is horizontal. LD2 is vertical. So, let me make sure I'm looking at this right. I'm looking at my book at the same time, because the way that I'm trying to, and I'm making dang sure I'm not telling y'all the wrong thing. Okay, so if we're going to look at LD1, just once again, like I mentioned, like, if we're looking at LD1, we're going to be looking at vertical. So in essence, it does discriminate against the blank facial expressions from happy facial expressions and some mad. And as far as LD2 goes, kind of. But in essence, you get a fairly rough idea of what's going on here with our variants. So the soapbox that I want to provide is, and just short, sweet, and simple, just do follow-ups. Just do them. This is the end of the video. Thank you for listening to me ramble. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen.